What's up, everybody? Simon and John Luke here. It is some day of the week where there's no football on. It's not Thursday. It's not Monday. We're just somewhere in the middle. But what that means is we got a little bit of time today before games kick off in week 8 to help formulate some trades. It is the midst of trading season. That trade deadline is going to be approaching in just like a couple weeks. We're on week 8, week 11, week 12. Those are usually the trade deadlines in fantasy. So this is the time to make those moves. And this is the time of year where values, I feel like, are having big discrepancies from where they were in the beginning of the year. They're finally starting to shift. A lot of the priors are getting thrown away, and we're seeing where players are actually falling. So for those of you that have never seen these charts before, these are our friend PeakedInHighSkool, Alex Korf. He comes on with us from time to time. He puts these together, and they are a sexy resource for finding these values. He takes a bunch of values from a bunch of different ranking sites, and he generates what the public's consensus is on these players. So it's a nice little snapshot of where people are landing.
It's like market value is a good way to think about it. Not necessarily like where does he think these players are going to finish? Where do we think these players are going to finish? This is how the community is looking at these players, and that tells us there's a bunch of edge to be had here. So that's what I love to use this for.
I see some people in the chat joining us. We're going to run through here, find some diamonds in the rough, find some values, find some players you should be targeting right now based on their market value. And so if you've got questions, throw them in here. We'd be glad to answer them and use these trade charts to help you out as well. Toronto Dave stopping by. What up, Dave? And Victor in the chat as well said, what the brochachos? I'm on lunch break. Is this real life? Either way, smash that like button.
Facts. Surprise.
All right. Well, John Luke, there was one name on here that I wanted to just start with right away, and it is the running back 8 on the season who's got about 15 running backs ahead of him on this list, Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco seems to be undervalued. It looks like he's the dude in one of the best offenses in the NFL, and I don't think his value's quite caught up to him yet. Around guys
down here at 31.
Down there at 31.
He's got David Montgomery around him, Joe Mixon, Devon Achane. Yeah, I see what you're
injured players around him, right? Like similar talent level, but currently injured players are sitting around Isaiah Pacheco.
Now, does Ford's performance recently bother you at all? Concern you with Pacheco?
No. I think no, I think this is his backfield, and I understand you have to believe that to think he's a value here, but man, I'm buying into Isaiah Pacheco as the lead dude there in that offense.
All right. I'm with it. We got Joey in the chat said, where is T. Higgins?
What up, Joey?
What up, Joey?
T. Higgins is really far down, Jail. I was looking at that earlier because I was looking for Marquise Hollywood Brown on this list, and T. Higgins is right below him, if I remember correctly. Yep, there he is.
Dang. Drake London, Tyler Lockett, Marquise Brown, George Pickens. Yeah, that's pretty low for T. Higgins. He seems like a great opportunity for a buy low here. Hoping that offense will buy T. Higgins.
No, for real. That's what
I'm always saying that.
That's what this is showing me. Buy T. Higgins. Now, Joe, you're right. That offense, it feels like last year the Bengals did the same thing where they said, like, they looked like they were bad, and then a couple weeks into the season, they were like, "Oh, just kidding." Now we're the Bengals you were expecting. And if that happens again this year, there's no way T. Higgins won't be like. Look at Calvin Ridley. Why is T. Higgins that much lower than a Calvin Ridley who hasn't done anything since week 1?
Nothing. Doesn't have the name value. Doesn't even have the performance value or like recency bias value. That is a great name to bring up. I'm trying to think like Jacoby Myers. Oh, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
Give me T. Higgins over every single one of those guys. Maybe Jordan Addison ahead of him. Chris Godwin ahead of him.
After one game, Simon, you can get burned again. Addison's going to burn you.
I just keep getting burned by rookies, JL. I like you give me the inkling that a rookie is a good start, and I'm throwing him in there.
All right, so T. Higgins, that's locked in as definitely a buy.
Victor had a trade question with us involving T. Higgins. So speaking of T. Higgins, what side of the trade would you rather have rest of the season? Puka Nacua and George Pickens, or Jonathan Taylor and T. Higgins?
Oh man, all right.
George Pickens is valued similarly to T. Higgins, if I remember correctly, right there
He's
near
13.5 for Pickens.
Right around. So one value point ahead of T. Higgins, 13.5, 12.5 for T. So we can almost just even like cancel them out in the trade and just look at what does the trade value chart think between Jonathan Taylor and Puka Nacua.
Where's Puka at? Puka's got to be all the way at the top, at the tippy top.
41 and Jonathan Taylor's at 35. The trade value chart likes the Puka Nacua George Pickens side of this trade more than the Jonathan Taylor T. Higgins side.
But now you got to remember this is just looking at market value. So it's not necessarily saying this go make this trade. Puka Nacua jumped up 4 trade value points from last week. That's what this. If we didn't mention already, if this is your first time seeing the chart, this other column that is to the right of the player name is their trend from the previous week, I believe. So we see Puka Nacua jumping up. I find it hard to believe that he still has room to jump up.
No.
Going.
And
Jalen Waddle.
Joe, you bring up a good point. What this has shown me, like that seems crazy to me that it has Puka Nacua and George Pickens higher than Jonathan Taylor and T. Higgins. And so this is a trade where I look at this and I think my opinion is a little bit different than market value. And I'd be sending this. I'd be grabbing Jonathan Taylor and T. Higgins for the second half of the season here. I think T. Higgins bounces back and it's JT, man. It's JT.
Yeah. That's Victor, that's an insane trade if you had told yourself that about that trade 8 weeks ago.
Right?
Yeah.
Just imagine saying that you're going to trade away Puka Nacua and George Pickens and get even one of those players in return.
Hua?
Hua. You buffoon. What's the trade value on Hua Nahua?
Hua. Albert in the chat. What up, Albert? Good to see you, my friend.
Said hello, everyone. What's up, Albert?
What is going on? One player that stands out to me, another one here, Simon, is Alvin Kamara, hopping up 22 trade value points. That is the deepest green I think I've ever seen in my whole life. Oh,
yeah.
Hey, what's up, Rosie?
I mean, Alvin Kamara should have a good rest of the season, but this seems like maybe he'll come back down to earth a little bit in week 9.
You brought up Alvin Kamara being hesitant about him last week. Were those concerns on now?
They're a bit alleviated after I saw the way that they're willing to use him when the offensive line is. The worries were with a bad offensive line, Alvin Kamara is going to struggle. Well, the run game did struggle a little bit, but he also got about 4,326 targets from Derek Carr because the offensive line was struggling so much. They were directly related. So I am no longer worried about the offensive line struggles in New Orleans because that means 20 targets for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. They're just going to feed him.
I see Travis Etienne up there, and I just saw this today. Did you know Travis Etienne has the most rushing attempts of any running back in the NFL? He's number 1 in rushing attempts. Travis Etienne is. He's got 127. Second is Christian McCaffrey with 125. He is the running back that has carried the ball the most times through 7 weeks in the NFL. Wild, right?
I'm going to get a Travis Etienne just tattooed on my back, but it's going to look like a jersey. It's going to be like number 1, Etienne Jr., but it's just big tattoo.
Man, how good does it feel to see Travis Etienne up there, though?
So good.
Suck it, doubters.
The announcers are talking about like their friendship, college teammates. They're kind of going into that this weekend. And I just got sad. I started thinking like, man, I wonder if they're like, yeah, this won't last forever, but we're having fun while we're here.
I thought you were going to say you got sad because they didn't mention you during the Bills broadcast.
Yeah, I often get sad at every Bills game.
Every Bills game, and then every time they cut to Kenyon Drake and he doesn't mention that we went to high school together, I'm just like, what the hell, dude?
Dude,
this
no
is what
respect.
You know this is what I do, and by that I mean you have no idea this is what I do. You've never even thought of me since school ended, probably.
Not once.
I do like you bringing up Alvin Kamara. Are you viewing this as like a trade high point for Kamara then, Jail? Or are you buying in that his value will probably stay similar to this?
I think we know what Alvin Kamara is in terms of like talent and what he can do with the football. But is he this high up? Are they going to keep using him this way? I think so. I think they're desperate. I don't think they have an option.
JL, what you did there, I feel like I did the exact same thing after last week. I was like, are they going to keep this up? Yeah, I think they will.
I just started thinking about what other strategy would they use. I don't know. I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, I mean, you can capitalize on this value, but it's not one that I'm desperate to get off my team. I've said this name a couple times now. I just want to get your take on if you think he is undervalued. Marquise Brown. Kyler Murray is coming back. Kyler Murray is coming back into this offense. And I think that's a rare situation where there is a drastic change to the situation in the positive direction for a player midseason. And we're 2 weeks away from it happening. Like, I feel like we may be in a 2-week window where Marquise Brown's value is this low, unless Kyler Murray suddenly sucks, which, like, I feel like people are surprised by this. Kyler Murray last season was a top 12 quarterback in 7 of 11 games that he played in. The year before, top 12 quarterback in, I think it was 8 of 13 games, and then was a top 15 quarterback in 11 of 13 games that he played. Like, when Kyler Murray's played fantasy football over the last 2 years, he's been very good for fantasy football, which leads me to believe we should see him be good. And Marquise Brown's just, he shouldn't be at 13.5.
Yeah, that is a great call out, Simon, because like when you look at Marquise Brown's usage in that offense, they've been consistently targeting him since he's been on the team, since last year. Outside of one like the games where he missed because he was injured, or the streaks of games that he missed where he was injured, we have seen nothing but the Arizona organization giving us evidence saying, yeah, we kind of like Marquise Brown. He's kind of the guy. So I'm with you. I think this is probably he's going to experience a value jump, which this is exactly how I want to use these charts, is like anticipate the value jumps or drops. Doesn't matter if you think it's long-term or not. Even short-term jumps can be valuable to your fantasy team if you can capitalize on them at the right time.
Absolutely. Yeah, they don't have to be permanent jumps that you're capitalizing on. You can be a fantasy sports day trader with these charts. You can come in and just play the value jumps day by day. Yeah. I say that like half jokingly, but legitimately.
That's true. It's a really good it's a really good parallel.
You get news that a team's looking to trade a player. That could very temporarily elevate the value of the backup behind that player on the team. You capitalize on that before the next piece of news comes out.
Yep.
Because more times than not, they don't trade that player that they're looking to trade.
Right. And he only jumped up 1 point from last week, which tells me that his value, at least from the last 2 weeks, are relatively stable. Yeah, I think that's a great call out.
C-Dog in here had a question for us. Said, I'm 2-5. I need to switch something up. My starters are Mahomes, Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, and Sam Laporta. What do y'all think I should do? That's a pretty
Ridley
good team to be 2-5, man. But
Ridley and Cooper are culprits.
That's the weak point.
Yeah. So
I need to see your bench, C-Dog, to be able to put together a good trade offer for you. But it's definitely that wide receiver position, like I think you're saying, JL.
Yeah, Ridley and Cooper have been disappointing so far. Cooper, I mean, look at them in this trade value chart. They're right next to each other, and they both -8, -7 here.
Gross.
Yeah, that's real bad. So yeah, they're not going to be valued very highly. You probably can't trade them right now. I'd be holding those two guys, but that is your weak point. It's probably why you're 2-5. I do expect Amari Cooper to return some value on that draft pick. I hope. I don't
we got to get Deshaun Watson back first.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson is that missing piece, and then getting him back and getting him targeting Cooper is probably priority one for Cleveland.
Well, and like I don't know if you saw the news come out today, the injuries that he's dealing with right now. We got a little more details on it. It's one that when a baseball pitcher has it, they're usually out 4 to 6 weeks. Like they are off the field 4 to 6 weeks, not pitching in that rotator cuff. So he's
no baseball games
cleared.
For Deshaun.
No baseball games for Deshaun. He's been cleared by all the medical staff, but from a when's it going to feel right perspective, we're well over a month away probably from a fully healthy Deshaun Watson. And every last dollar of his contract is guaranteed. He doesn't have any incentive to get out there before he has to.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of that contract situation.
Yep. They did it. They did that to themselves.
Cooper's value, it honestly may be a still trade him now before it drops a little bit further over the next couple of weeks. I'm nervous about that one.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So when looking at your team, C-Dog, which usually when I'm trying to trade, I'm looking for which of my players are being overvalued right now.
Ooh, you know what jumps out to me on this team, Joe?
What?
You got some real name value in Patrick Mahomes in a one quarterback league where that quarterback position isn't as important. I bet you could turn Patrick Mahomes into a decent wide receiver to shore that out and then pick up some guys on the waiver wire. Justin Fields maybe sitting on your waiver wire right now. I've seen him dropped in a lot of 10 and 12 man leagues. You can stream quarterback, trade Mahomes, get a upper echelon wide receiver on name value alone. You might be able to do that. What do you think about that? I know usually you don't like trading quarterbacks in one QB leagues.
Well, I love trading away quarterbacks
You're
in one
right.
QB leagues. I love
You're
that
right.
if I can. I don't love trading 4 quarterbacks in one QB league. So yeah, I'm with you, Simon. If you can make that happen, go find that person who's overvaluing the QB position and then shore up the wide receiver position. I think you will be set. That's a great call out.
You might be able to, like, I know those names are a little bit higher, but with name value, you might be able to turn Patrick Mahomes into Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Right. And freaking hyped about that. You put Puka Nacua and Amari Cooper in your starting lineup, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Albert had a question for us. He said, are you guys selling high on Adam Thielen or holding? Let's talk about Adam Thielen. He was the name I was going to bring up. Jumped 9 trade value points here in this tier from last week to this week. He's being valued around DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, Justin Jefferson somehow, DJ Moore, and Puka Nacua. I feel like this is probably an overreaction to the pretty big game that we got out of Adam Thielen. That offense, I'm still concerned about. I don't have a ton of belief in that offense. And Adam Thielen, while I think he's a pretty safe bet, I don't think he has the upside that the rest of the folks going around him are. How do you feel about Adam Thielen? Thielen, Simon.
I just go through his game logs and I see 9 targets, 14 targets, 8 targets, 13 targets, 13 targets. And this is a team that over the past couple of weeks has started letting Bryce Young chuck the ball a little bit more. This is high, man. And he's a 33-year-old wide receiver. You wonder if he can hold up at this point, but I haven't seen anything to suggest that he's not going to be the number 1 target on this team down the stretch. Our friend Steezy, who I did a show with earlier today, did raise a point. We always talk about the second half of the year rookie wide receiver breakouts or them coming into their own. We could start seeing Adam Thielen, with the way he's been just straight up dominating through the first 7 weeks, start getting a little bit more attention. And as Jonathan Mingo starts getting involved in this offense a little more, building the chemistry, maybe we see a little bit of a switch from Adam Thielen to Mingo. I don't think anyone's calling for Mingo to take over, but I wouldn't be shocked to see some of the work shift away towards the rookie who's getting acclimated to this offense.
Yeah, Thielen very well, which could be a safety blanket or benefiting from being that safety blanket. And I think that's a great call out, not just Mingo, but also as Bryce Young gets more comfortable.
Yeah. We see safety blankets for these young players all the time. And then as they get more comfortable, we see them target those players less and less and less.
Start to look at the other reads.
Zach Ertz not getting his 10 targets a game he was getting from Josh Dobbs at the first couple weeks of the season. Though
now he's getting none.
I was going to say that'd be a really nice thing to say that Josh Dobbs is starting to feel more comfortable in the NFL.
Yeah. We got some more questions in here. We got Shraggy asking, Shraggy asking, I traded Adams, Devontae Smith, Aaron Jones, and Lamar Jackson for Mostert, Jamar Chase, Collins, Nico Collins, thank you, and Justin Fields. Also got Goff. Thoughts? What do you think about this one, Simon?
So I'm looking at this. Lamar Jackson for Justin Fields is definitely a downgrade at the quarterback position. Though you got Goff in there as well, and Goff's been doing well. I don't mind streaming between Fields and Goff each week. Adams and Devonta Smith at the wide receiver position. Adams and Jamar Chase. I'd prefer Jamar Chase, but they're relatively equal. Devonta Smith and Nico Collins. I'd prefer Devonta Smith, but I think they're in the same tier with their performances they've done so far this season. So really, do I like Aaron Jones or Raheem Mostert? Here's what I think about this trade, JL. They're just trading teams. It seems relatively even back and forth as I go player to player. Do you want Aaron Jones or do you want Raheem Mostert? I think Raheem Mostert's been killing it so far, but he's got more competition and more fears around what we're around him being able to hold up, right? He's 31 years old and playing the best football of his life at a position that's notoriously hard on older players. Like, I don't mind getting out from underneath Raheem Mostert, but
he's trading for Mostert.
Yeah, he's trading for Mostert.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer the side you were on. The Adams, Devontae Smith, it just feels like each of those players on the side that you on the left side here have more upside than the right side.
this one's breaking my brain, Shraggy, a little bit. I see the arguments for both sides. I do think I lean on the side that JL's sitting on here, but I understand the moves on the other side. I think you got a little bit more upside with Jamar Chase than Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Eddie in here asking flex full PPR, Tank Dell, Watson, Roshan, or DeMercado.
Ooh, not DeMercado. I don't trust him. Boy, would I love to. I just fully expect this week Keontae Ingram to suddenly get every single touch in that backfield yet again. Roshan's interesting as long as he's playing. I was a little nervous that he's 2 weeks out from that same concussion. But the other thing about that one is they're playing the Chargers, who are notoriously bad against quarterbacks and wide receivers this season. So it may not be a Roshan game script there. I'm probably going Watson if that's Christian Watson.
Yeah, I assume it is. Latest news that we have on Christian Watson that he is practicing as of Wednesday, which is today. And Tank Dell is, I believe, still in concussion protocol, but expected to play, or they're optimistic that he'll play. Probably come between those two guys, and I'd probably lean Watson.
Tank. I was talking earlier about the time we played pickup basketball against a guy named Tank.
Oh yeah, and your knee ripped.
I was saying I learned I now have just, if someone is ballsy enough to introduce themselves as Tank, you believe them.
You walk away.
You just trust that dude. You trust that he's earned that nickname and you just walk away.
Respect. Goodbye.
Sounds good, Tank. I'm going to find someone else to play basketball.
Whatever you say, I'm going to find another court. C-Dog asks, should I trade Mahomes and Cooper for Diggs and T-Law? Mahomes and Cooper for Diggs and T-Law.
Amari Cooper sitting at 19. Mahomes sitting at 33.5. You're making that happen?
I'd do it, yeah.
Who's the player with T-Law?
Diggs.
Mahomes and Cooper for Diggs. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Joey says, if you guys say safety blanket one more time, I will seek litigation. If you can find litigation, Joey, you're welcome to use it.
Danger Snuggie. Who's if Adam Thielen is Bryce Young's safety blanket, who's his danger Snuggie?
Ooh,
Serper.
Oh no, that just created the weirdest narrative in my head. It's like the weirdest storyline.
Victor wanted to see where Jordan Addison is on the trade value chart and what running back he can get at that value. That's a good question with the big game he just had and with Justin Jefferson coming back. You're thinking about it right, Victor. Yeah. Looking for these areas where things are changing.
Down here at 15.5 trade value points. He jumped up 4.5 points since last week. If he has another big week, that's it. He's going to be like way up here.
You might be able to get James Conner for him. And watching this offense without James Conner, I might be interested in trading Jordan Addison for James Conner if you're running back needy here.
Yeah. Oh, man. Jalen Warren, Najee Harris could be interesting. Here's the thing, though.
Najee Harris outscored Jalen Warren for the first time this season.
I hate you for saying that. Shut your mouth. Don't say stupid things like that.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I don't know that I would want to trade Jordan Addison at this point for one of these running backs. It feels like maybe it might Jordan Addison has a couple more good games as a rookie wide receiver, and I feel like you'll be able to upgrade even further. So I wouldn't try and cash out at this point. Simon, would you cash out on one of these guys?
No, but if you need a running back, I think there's names there that you could do it for. I'd be looking at Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, James Conner as the names that I'm looking at. But Addison has more upside than all three of those other players combined. They just provide opportunity.
Yeah.
Just the upside's not there sitting for him. I was curious. We just were thinking big games there, and Jordan Addison had a big game. I was wondering where Josh Downs was. And his value does not look like it's quite caught up to what we've seen the past 2 weeks either. Down there he gained 4 points, but that just took him from 4 to 8.5. The names near him are Gabe Davis, Joshua Palmer. Darren Waller at the tight end position is almost identical in value to Josh Downs. Like, give me the rookie who seems like he's starting to build a connection with Gardner Minshew over the second half of the season. Safety blanket.
Safety blanket.
Minshew doesn't need a safety blanket.
he is the danger blanket.
He's the danger snuggie, baby.
Maria asked if she should pick up Wan'Dale Robinson. It was like Sunday right before game time. And I was like, I'd rather have Josh Downs out of the group that's available. She's like, all right, I'll pick him up. Picks up Josh Downs. I didn't realize that this is in a league that her and I are competing in.
She started Josh Downs against you?
And so she started Josh Downs, and then I went downstairs and I went to go pick up Josh Downs, and I was like, wait a minute. And I like kind of connected the dots. And then right as I went to take him, she took him. And so I just took Wan'Dale Robinson just to spite her. and then we're like, all right, well, we'll see who scores the most. And then Josh Downs scored immediately in that game. It's like, oh, shoot.
Josh Downs. The answer is Josh Downs.
Yeah. 8.5 value points down here. Yes, I mean, I think that's a great call out because the thing that's been limiting his value so far has been him not playing. And so this is the first game that we got to see him and he shows up like that. That's huge. There's a ton of potential upside there.
One more down here. This range, it's same type of player, but Rashee Rice, like these rookies, like I'm not saying all of them are going to break out, but the ones that we're seeing signs that they might be earning a larger role in their offense. That's how this shit works every year, man. Like every year we see rookies earn their snaps after 7 weeks, after 8 weeks, after 9 weeks. I'll take some shots. If that's really what Rashee Rice's trade value is, I'm in, baby. I would trade Gus Edwards for Rashee Rice straight up. I would trade any of those running backs in the next tier, Chuba Hubbard, Roschon Johnson, Tyler Algier, Khalil Herbert for Rashee Rice. Or Josh Downs. I would do it for either one of them right now.
Trying to see if there's any other rookies that are hitting the same type of pattern.
Also, Joey said, honestly, JL, you may have just described marriage. What is yours is hers, but it is vice versa too. When she is sleeping tonight, I feel like a trade can be made.
He's talking about the Maria story. I was like, what is he referring to?
Rashee Rice. Shraggy had one more question for us. We're probably going to be wrapping up here soon, guys, on this trade value stream. Shraggy wants to know that does Najee Harris have any upside worth waiting for?
Yes.
Yes. Is he worth waiting for?
Yes. He's worth waiting for. One of these days, he's going to turn it around and everyone's going to be like, I love Najee Harris. And they're going to all forget about hating on him so hard. Or I'll just be sad and be wrong.
And his Shraggy's question then wants to know, what's Harris's value? I think we're looking at it right there on the screen. He's sitting at 13.0. So players you could trade for him, that tier of wide receivers we were talking about earlier would get it done. George Pickens, T. Higgins, Drake London, Tyler Lockett.
Yeah. I'd be holding him here. Jalen Warren.
You could move Dallas Goedert for Najee Harris, I bet, to a team that needs a tight end. Goddard's had some decent games recently.
Yeah, it's a good move.
Make that happen. And Hal stopping by saying hi. What's up, Hal? Welcome.
What up, Hal?
Just in time for us to wrap it up here. John Luke, any other players you want to hit on before we call it for today?
Oh, I want to hit on all of them. They're all so beautiful.
And rich.
And very rich.
Rich and beautiful. That's my type. All right. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it for us here today. We'll be back tomorrow with the Fantasy Football Game Show at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy until then. And go make some trades happen.
Do it.
Show us your feet.
Safety blanket. Show us your feet.
Yes, what was that?
I don't know what those two things combine, but it's something. It's something powerful.
Bro.